Good morning, everyone. Jim Hodges here. Kirby here. Kirby is an 8-month-old Goldendoodle. Came in for our residency training program. Really good girl, really sweet, really affectionate. Primarily behaviors and just overall obedience. And what I like to teach and what I think is so important, I didn't make up these rules, but it's about leadership. God in his infinite wisdom put dogs on earth as pack animals. And in the pack, there's the leader all the way down to the least. When your dog comes into your home, you become part of his or her pack. I want you to be that leader. I think when you're the leader and you're balanced emotionally, when you're the leader, things just go much better. Your dogs understand that you have their back. They're confident and secure in what you're going to do and what's going to happen in public. So that's what I espouse, is leadership through obedience, and that is really two forms of motivation. Motivation is getting your dog to do something. One is praise. Praise is a combination of words, touch, treat, toy, positive emotion, all in that moment of time in the beginning when you're teaching. Or consequence, primarily words and touch. It can be some subliminal things that aren't quite as obvious, but the words and touch are designed in that moment of time as well. When we provide touch for a consequence, it's a tap on the leash. We're not trying to intimidate, dominate, break her spirit, hurt her, or have her fear you, okay? But we are trying to communicate. And why do I say a tap of a loose leash? Let me say loose, because what we're doing is, in my mind and my belief, working with thousands of dogs over the years, is we're biting her, okay? Just like a sibling or a mom or another member of the pack. And a member of the pack biting is nothing going to be like some strange idiot down the road coming in and biting a dog and making them fear for their life or have to defend. So that's that process. And as we live through life, in the beginning we're black and white, but then we move to shades of gray. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through obedience quickly, show you the things that we should be doing with her, so that as mom and dad refer back, or dad refers back to her in the future, she'll see the things that he needs to do to get her where they want her to be. Okay? Thank you so much. Here we go. Sweetheart, you ready? She loves treats. There's nothing wrong with using treats. It's not about treats. It's about obeying me as the leader. A job well done, which you'll see in a minute, I'll give her a treat. I'll show you how I give a treat too, because I think that's just as important. But remember, motivation is words, touch, treat, toy, positive emotion, as many of those in that moment of time as you can. Let's go. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to kick it. So our let's go with our walking command. I'll walk her on the left. I think that's very important if we're going to be walking outdoors in neighborhoods and things like that with our puppies and our dogs. But she's right here. She's not out here. She's not out here. She's not here. Good girl. She's right here. So I pat her just then. Why? She was looking up at me and being right beside me. So I am rewarding her for what doesn't look like an obvious command, but it's exactly what I want. I want her to know what makes me happy, okay? So back to that let's go. Her job is to be right there. My job is to keep her there. If she starts to move out, I'm gonna tap that leash. That is the bite that I'm talking about, okay? We're just gonna, as soon as she starts to move off, we're gonna tap and we're gonna or no, let's go, then good girl. Why do I give her a good girl after I provide a consequence? Is to show her now she's doing the right thing. That praise after a consequence is not worthy, like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing in the world, but it is an assurance that now you're doing the right thing. Let's go. So I walk, I control where I'm going. If I step off, she turns back around. A girl. I could reach down and pat her. Not going to give her a treat for that, but I could if I wanted to. I'm just not. So sit. Good girl. I love the way she's watching. We want to praise that. When you're walking or she's just looking at you, that's a perfect time to give her a treat to help increase that focus. Let's go. We've got sun coming in this morning. I don't know if it's going to be blotchy, but we have to do a video. Sit. Good girl. So sit means sit. When I ask her to sit, she needs to sit. If she didn't sit, or if she got up from that sit, I would tap the leash. No, sit. Good girl. Okay? See, she thought about what she was getting ready to do. She was getting ready to get up, but she didn't. Show she's using her brain. Okay? Good. So remember the tap. I do not use stay with the sit command. Sit means sit. You hold the sit till I release you. okay? And I don't keep her in a sit forever. Break. Atta girl, good girl. Give her a little treat for that break. Break is my release command. It serves a couple of purposes. The first thing is to let her know she doesn't have to do that command any longer for that moment in time. A sidebar is if I've got her on a leash, she can never pull on a leash either, even with the break. But if you notice when I broke her, that's my hand signal, I said break, I stepped back, what else do you think I might be doing? I'm subliminally teaching her the recall or the calm command, okay? So that she understands that I'm the center of the universe. When she gets excited, when I get excited and I release her, she comes to me for praise and affection, okay? Let's go. So we've got her SIT and she'll hold it for us. Down. Hand signal from the side for the down. I asked her to down. Good girl. Okay. Asked her to down. She holds that down. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. She has to hold the down till I release. Now, one of the reasons she was here, good girl, is for picking things up off the ground. So, no, down. Good girl. She's done really well with it, but that's a behavior that's going to continue to happen until we completely remove it. She's been here 10 days. She's doing a much better job of it. But she has to hold that down until I release her, okay? I could tell her, stay. Open palm, stay. Stay means pack your bags. You're going to be there a while. She can chew on a toy, play with a toy. She has to hold it, okay? Good girl. I'm glad you're not smelling the ground anymore. We had a terrific thunderstorm last night, early this morning. When that happens, there's a lot of scents that come up from the ground. Causes a dog to be stimulated. That's one of their senses. So when I ask her to stay, she has to hold it until I release her. Now she can smell because she's in a stay. If we just told her down, I don't want her to smell, but if she goes to pick up something, I'm gonna bite her. So I'm just gonna sort of watch her just a second. Good girl. And why did I praise her? Because she looked up at me. I'm gonna watch to see what she does. If she starts to pick up something, I would bite her. That's what you need to do at home. This is how you're gonna fix things. She's come 95% of the way. She is really, really doing good. Dog's natural instinct is to smell, but they're not smelling on my time. They're smelling on their time, okay? You ready? Let's go. So you notice I didn't break her that time. I went to let's go. So why? Because I want to mix up commands. I want her using that brain to figure out what I'm asking her to do. You notice I did DOWN from the front, from the side. Now I'm going to do it from the front. Down. Good girl. That's a good girl. Still no treat. If she didn't down in either situation, I would have taken, this is her head, I would have gone, no, down, towards the ground. And then good girl. Good. Sit. Notice the tone of my voice. Break it. When I tell a dog to sit from down, believe it or not, that's, besides the down command itself, that's one of the hardest commands for a dog to do. So I'm really trying to encourage them to want to listen. You remember I said praises, words, touch, treat, toy, positive emotion. I'm trying to bond with her, make her want to be a part of the pack, make her want to do the things that we're doing here, okay? Let's go. So you know the DOWN from the front, from the side, SIT, and we know the BREAK. Let's go. Good girl. Real quick about the, I'll talk to her about on the place. Let's go. All right, so the next command, and I'm going to give her a little treat for this. If she doesn't see it, maybe she saw it. You'll know at home, I don't. I'm going to ask her to, okay, place. Ah, girl, good girl. Watching me? Thank you. Now, place for me is lay down, sit down, stand up, read a book. I don't care what you do as long as you stay on the bed. She can easily do this for a couple of hours now. You can give her a yak snack. You can give her something to chew on. That's okay as long as she stays there. Remember, lay down, sit down, stand up, read a book. I'm not going to ask her to sit. I'm not going to ask her to down. I'm going to ask her to place. If she started to come off this bed, I would tap her just like the let's go, but back to the center of the bed. Okay, so you see the smells that are coming up. This butterfly bush has been laying water up on the bed this morning once we put it out. And we've actually had another dog on this bed prior to her. But that's okay, As long as she's there, I'm fine. Okay, let's go. So I decided it was time to go, so what did she do? She quit smelling, okay? I pointed at the bed to tell her to play. Now, when you take her home, you're gonna come up here. Play. You notice I sent her from a long way away. We always start close, get her used to doing it, and then gradually increase the distance in our command. Good girl. I love the way she's watching. Let's go. Okay? So you notice we talked about the break command as well, okay? So now, and that's twofold. You remember I talked about the recall. We want to set the recall up so that she comes to us on leash or off leash. We practice it on leash, we practice it off leash. The way we do it off leash is get her not really paying attention. I actually have a treat laid up in my hand. We'll see what happens. And she's watching me. So that makes it no fun. So we're gonna do it on leash, okay? So on leash, I'm gonna ask her to come to me, and when she comes, she's to come right here and sit in front of me and hold it. And I will probably reward her since she's watching me. Come. Good girl. Treat. Notice how I gave her the treat like that. Good. Break. So only she has to come and sit for me. Does she have to sit for you? That's entirely up to you. But I want her, my dogs, come and sit right in front of me. Notice my hand on the break and on the come, the on leash come, is right here. I want our dogs so focused on us they come here. If we hold a treat out here, and I know a lot of people do it, treat or toy out here, our dog may see a distraction and that is more empowering than the treat, and they just take right on off. But when we get them to come to us, guess where their focus is? On our hand and on us, and we're gonna praise and love them and then release them and let them do what they want to do or what you want them to do. Let's go. Sit. So I never ever give a consequence on the come command off leash. Always do it on leash. So there, squirrel. I knew something was behind me, but she's holding it. Good job. Come. So you see, this is how that focus happens with the squirrel. She came to me. If she didn't come to me, I would have tapped the leash right to me then. On leash, come. If she didn't sit, I would have tapped her, told her, no sit. Good girl. Notice how she's holding it. Let's go. So off leash, let's see if that squirrel's still over here. I got a treat out, notice. See if you can see that squirrel. It's right there. Look, dog, it's over there. Come on, Kirby, look. She's looking, so this is live, folks. I can't help it. I don't rehearse these. We just work through them to see what we get. Good girl. So in general, if she's not paying attention, and as I said, she's really treat motivated, which is a really good thing, okay? But she would be out here running around in the yard on a leash, inside first. We always do it inside first. We pull out our treat or toy, and we go, hey, Kirby, look. Come. When did I tell her to come? Good girl, break. When she had started running to me, okay? Not when she was standing here. So many people in the beginning tell their dog to come. They're looking at a squirrel. They're playing around with the butterflies and the bees and what have you. And they say, oh, this is more interesting than you, okay? When you tell them to come, they've made a decision to ignore that word. But when I got her attention, and I saw that she wanted to come and she started coming to me, I told her to come because she had committed to it. So I am really implanting a favorable command with her state of mind, okay? And getting it to encourage her to want to come. I'm gonna do that over and over and over again in her life. I do it in my dogs' lives, okay? I'm never gonna tell her to come unless I know she's gonna come or I can make her. So if she did something wrong out there, I wouldn't tell her to come and correct her. I would go get her and correct her. Or if I told her to come, there would be no consequence. Let's go. Another thing, she is allowed on furniture. That's perfectly all right. I still like to teach my dogs to load up in cars on furniture when I want them to. So that is a load up. Okay, load up. Ah, the girl. So load up is good. Let's go. And we're off again, okay? So load up could be, you could tell her to load up on the furniture and sit right there beside you. You could have her on a leash. You define what you want out of that. But typically load up is to get up on the furniture or get up into the car. Let's see, still need to work on the heel command. The heel command is a much tighter let's go. Typically when I do the heel command, I'm gonna ask my dog to be beside me and we're gonna start walking and hand signals like this, and I'm gonna tell her to heel. She's gonna be right here. It's my job to keep her right here. It's her job to stay there. And then the only difference between let's go, besides it being a little bit tighter, when I stop, she sits automatically, okay? So sit. All right, we're right here beside each other. She's in my area, good girl. That's for her looking at me, and heel. So she's right here, watch me turn, good girl. Stop, she sits, and now she holds that sit until I release her. Heel, watch me step off. See how she's coming back into the box? I always want to give her a chance. Good girl. Little slow. Break. Now, when I say a little slow, that was a second. But if I saw that continuing to happen, I would be ready to tell her, no, sit. She's a puppy, okay? She gets a little distracted from time to time, just like you and I do. We work through that, and we continue to make progress as a pack, if you will. Okay, let's go. All right, you noticed he was scratching? She wasn't in a command, that's fine. But you noticed I asked her to let's go. I'm telling her, by telling her let's go, we're not gonna scratch right now. Sit. Heel. Now I'm gonna do a 180. But when I do the 180, you notice I start walking forward with her. Atta girl. Good girl, break. I started walking forward with her. But if I'd have stopped in the middle of the turn, there's no way she could be right here. She's having to respond to my action. So I come out of the turn, take a couple of steps, stop. She comes in and sits beside me automatically. So good. The only other things that we have to worry about is the picking up things off the ground, the play biting, the jumping. Those are behaviors that we can control with our leash, okay? A loose leash to begin with, or with our hands, where we bodily control her from doing what needs to be done. Go look at my puppy do's and don'ts for those of you who have puppies or dogs that may be jumping or play biting or the come command, and it'll give you some suggestions. She's been a great dog. She really has. She's learned our obedience real well. She's sassy. She likes to have fun. She loves other dogs. She loves other people, but she's not entitled to act on that unless we allow it. And we don't allow it because she's breaking the command. We allow it when she's doing what we ask. So I teach her to say hey to people. If she goes to jump, I'm going to tap the leash. She goes to jump on me, I'm going to bite. Just that simple. You know, if you ever have any questions, you pick up the phone and call me, 336-945-3232. Jim Hodges Dog Training. Thank you so much for letting me have her. God bless you. Bye-bye.